Oh, what's up? I'm the guy that runs this whole shit. This isn't gonna be like anything I've made before or will make afterwards. The tone and the vibe is completely off because I wasn't planning on making this, but finding out that Toriyama died like a couple of weeks back, I don't know, it felt weird not saying anything because looking back at my life, like so much of it has been influenced by what Dragon Ball was for me. And I couldn't just like let that by without saying nothing. So, here's a little tribute.
Speak about like the slum kids who are gonna feel like, dope boy hard, but I'm harder, and he comes through harder. Let's speak about the kid in CPT right now, looking at youngster like, nah, he good, but like, you know me, you know, like, because another thing about hip hop is, true hip hop was never scared of the doper rapper. It was sharp sword, sharp as the sword, you know. So it's always exciting to see someone who could spar with you, you know. Actually, a lot of dudes in this game that I want to spar with too. I won't lie. Sometimes I wish we could leave all of the like industry stuff. But
lady, I just can't stop loving you.
When I was 10 years old, me and my older cousin watched Goku turn Super Saiyan for the first time. We watched it on a TV old enough to have broadcasted live the collapse of the Berlin Wall. It was in a crowded room that we shared with one other person. We sat through ads for funeral cover, feminist car insurance, and the 20 excruciating minutes of Hectic 99 SABC2 would force on you before you could actually see what you wanted to watch. But eventually, we beheld that golden hair glistening in all its poorly color-corrected glory, green skies and all. This is a high we would both chase for the rest of our lives. My cousin now has several lifetimes worth of debt and the kind of drug addiction that gets you put on a Vice documentary, and I talk about anime on the internet. One of us is winning and it's clearly not me. But in that experience, acquired in between excruciating South African broadcast advertising jingles, would be the thing I would come to compare every piece of art against for the rest of my life moving forward. Not in terms of writing or pacing or any aspect of its construction except for the illustration, but emotionally, very few things have hit like that one moment, and I've come to treasure the few that do. The buff Gon scene in Hunter x Hunter, the dinner speech in Saloon before Shaka shoots Remington in the head, Roy Mustang's cookout for justice in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the organ grinder's monkey speech in Mank, and Sun Jin Woo bringing a Chimera ant back from the dead while sporting an impossibly uncreased pair of Jordan 1s. I've tried several times to make a Dragon Ball video. Literally the first thing I ever made on the internet was an article about how it felt to run home before 5 hit because Dragon Ball was coming on. I don't think the site I wrote that for exists anymore. I was like 18 when I wrote that, oh my god. No, I was fucking 17 years old. Oh my god, it was 2018. Every time since I've tried to write about what Dragon Ball means to me, I've fallen short. Because Dragon Ball has never been something I can metabolize like most of the art I come in contact with. It's too close to home. Sure, I can grasp at its peripheries. I can talk about that famous Toei pacing, or the least for most type animation you get out of most of those episodes, or the fact that Toei is going to firebomb my house for using Dragon Ball footage in this video. That's all nice and well, but it doesn't get to the core of what DBZ is for me. Because what it is so entwined with who I am, any real examination of it requires a kind of vulnerability you learn as a child never to share with anyone. I knew what Dragon Ball was before I could speak English. I knew it through its echoes in other media I watched and in condescending conversations between me and my older cousins about how cartoons were way better in their day. Fuck this kids next door shit, nigga, we had Dragon Ball. That motherfucker Goku? Nobody could beat that motherfucker. I knew it through lunchboxes and metal tazos and this picture as seen through a Nokia Express music from my boy's phone. However, on one fateful day on my way back from school on SABC2, I'd see it with my own eyes for the first time. What little art skill I have is because of the love of Dragon Ball that I shared with and in the last 3 years of primary school, every break and every lunch was just us laying in the fucking dirt, power scaling and exchanging drawings we did the day before. I've drawn this specific Super Saiyan Trunks off the golden Tazo maybe 50 times at least. Would do this thing where his every 10th drawing was Super Saiyan 3 Goku. He fucking loves Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but like he would draw him with eyebrows like every single time and it looked so fucking cursed. I think back to my last day of primary primary school, on our way home in our disheveled uniforms, sharing a 2-liter bottle of soda mixture I can only describe as African Mississippi Queen, and I think about how the last conversation we ever had was about what Super Saiyan 5 would look like. I don't think I can properly express how much of a chokehold this image had on niggas, bro. Like, you can't possibly imagine, especially if you grew up on the English-speaking internet. We didn't have the internet like that yet, so when we got this image, it was through Bluetooth transfers with the helping of lies from your friend's older brother. The closest I've seen to the experience we had was the Latinos. You motherfuckers know what I'm talking about. Dragon Ball got me into video games. Even when the PS3 was like 6 years into its lifespan, niggas couldn't really afford it like that, so we took to the PS2 instead. I remember spending hours every Sunday after church at his house and low-key wishing he'd die so I could steal all his shit. This nigga had Midnight Club, Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3, Gran Turismo 4, the best Sonic game, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. We played that Dragon Ball disc ragged, you have no fucking idea. I got Budokai Tenkaichi 3 before he did, like 3 months in advance, so when he got his, I was cleaning house on these motherfuckers. Like, when I was 12, my Goku mid was so nasty. These niggas were not built like me, bro. Oh my god. The 2 years we spent on that nigga's bed as the sun set while we were running sets on that uncomfortably high TV are the reason I begged my parents for a PlayStation 2 in the first place. They're the reason I got into Vice City, into Need for Speed, into Dark Souls. I wouldn't be me if I didn't get stomped out by Tien's tri-beam cannon for 2 hours straight and then telling that nigga to go fuck himself afterwards. I think back to the one time I played Budokai Tenkaichi 2 on my cousin's PS and how much of an asshole he was. That nigga is in an Indian gulag right now getting his booty hole worked because he owes like 4 different loan sharks money. They got his passport and everything. I think the first time I saw Dragon Ball Doujins was on that guy's phone when I was like 10 years old. What the fuck was his problem? I think back to all these memories and to all the friends I made on the mutual love of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I'm floored by the realization that there are literally millions of stories like mine all across the world, across every country, across every single conceivable culture. It's crazy how this wuxia journey to the West idea mutated the trajectory of so many lives. This nigga must have had a ley line running under his house or something because he was tapping into something primordial when he made this shit. Nobody's cooked this hard since. He already had 35 million copies under circulation before he did Dragon Ball. He could have lived off that Dr. Slump money for the rest of his life, but he casually decided to change pop culture forever. There's a version of me that never watched Dragon Ball when he was a child, that went out and played football with all the neighborhood kids when that 5 PM time slot hit, that never learned how to draw and never got into anime. That guy's life is a lot less colorful. He sounds like an asshole. I wouldn't want to meet him.